Welcome, everybody. Day number 3 of the Knowledge Festival. We had great papers and discussions also yesterday. Today we have a new topic in the first part. It's environment and immunity. We start out right away with the first paper with Dr. Rajeshwari. She just as so many experts as we have is also an associate professor at the Department of Shalya Tantra, School of Ayurveda, Amritapuri, and she has enough experience and knowledge to give us some of it. So without any extra time wasting here, let's go right into it. Doctor, I give it over to you. Please start.
Thank you. Okay. Is it fine?
It's great. Absolutely. Very nice.
Yeah, okay. Very good afternoon from here, and it's a good morning there. Today, I'm just speaking about a few important points, how the environment is going to affect on the immunity of an individual. So then my title goes like the external environment and the environment inside us. These are the clinical observations made based on the environment and immune interactions. Coming to the introduction, when we hear the word like environment here, it not only comprises of the external environment, it is also, I'm dealing with all the things that we eat, drink, and also even we breathe. And it may be from the food to the industrial chemicals or medications we put into our body. So medically, this entire landscape is referred as the exposome. Okay. So, and also there is a terminology like these immune-mediated diseases are always coming from dusty traits. So these are the dust in the environment, which is going to trigger the immune system of an individual. So he or she develops lots of immune-related or immune-mediated diseases. The exposure to any infectious agents, when it happens from the environment, it is going to weaken all our immune system. So I have just pointed out or listed out some of the cases or some of the patients who visited us with very rare immune responses, and they were caused because of specific food habits or specific environmental exposures, and they were checked out, and these symptoms were checked out, and the specific Ayurvedic protocol were used. And it was a new attempt from our department, so that we are proposing it here. So when we think or when we approach this topic in this way, also we could get better results or better outcome from the Ayurvedic herbs or Ayurvedic therapy and their involvement in such cases. So let me give a little more description about how this concept was formulated. So when we see immune response in the medical textbooks, it is always depends on a lot of facts. One is a hygiene, and this is a hypothesis. Hygiene also is having a contributing factors. to our immune system in the form of infectious diseases or parasite burden. And the second point, it comes like a microbiota, that is the gut microbiota, and its healthy or unhealthy status, how it is going to cause in the textual references, which says about the immune interactions. These are the major immune interactions or major factors for the immune interactions which is happening in our body. So based on those three parameters, we have selected 4 cases where the patient had some infectious conditions and the 2 patients had immune related conditions. So these are the 2 infections which are having multi-drug resistant bacterial group, the categorization, that is Klebsiella oxytoca and Enterococcus faecalis. And the second 2 are related to raised C-reactive protein in patients and raised serum IgE or absolute eosinophil count, eosinophil percentage in the differential counts. So these are the 4 different types of responses we could see in patients who visited us. So if I want to describe about these 4 conditions, these Klebsiella is a gram-negative bacteria found in nature, and it's a normal healthy gut bacteria also. And when the patient is immunocompromised or when he is exposed to such environment, so this patient had a exposure from she had traveled to abroad, and it was mainly the country US, where the Klebsiella oxytoca infection is the most important organism which is causing most of the diseases in United States. So it has a broader references for the same also, the Klebsiella pneumoniae and Klebsiella oxytoca. Provided patient had immune response or absolute eosinophil count was high, our serum immunoglobulin IE is also high in such case. When she was exposed to this environment, she could get this particular infection. Second is the Enterococcus faecalis. It is also a healthy gut bacteria, but it is causing its symptoms whenever its colony is at a higher concentration in the gut. And absolutely, it is once again contributed with the weakened immune system. And we know these serum IgE and eosinophil counts and also absolute eosinophil or eosinophil percentage, these are the normal parameters which are present in the bloodstream. But whenever there is an immune response, allergic manifestations, these are going to get in a raised level, and these factors will be a causative agent for most of the diseases. So here, a C-reactin protein was also present, where it is an inflammatory marker, but in autoimmune diseases or allergic diseases, inflammation of mucosa is also causing a rise in the C-reactive protein. On that basis, when we analyze these 4 cases, we could get that Klebsiella oxytoca infected patient had cellulitis, and Enterococcus faecalis patient had a cystitis, and raised C-reactive protein patient had hip joint pain, and raised serum IgE and eosinophil count patient had a urticarial rashes. So directly I'll come how we dealt with such condition, because it's a new case, and we know that these 2 infectious conditions are having a multi-drug resistant, and patient had a secondary complication which is quite complicated or quite disturbing to the patient, like cellulitis and cystitis, so that we could draw a treatment protocol of our own, where we categorize the treatments based on these 4 headings. One is a change of diet, maintaining the healthy gut flora, symptomatic treatments to primary and secondary symptoms, strengthen immunity. So the first point and third point is common to most of the diseases what we treat. But the second and fourth point, healthy gut flora and strengthen immunity, it became our core idea to tackle these particular conditions. So in this strategy one, the food was given like a food was also mixed with the medicine also. So this is a buttermilk which is processed with the oxalic cornicate, that is changeri, what we call in Sanskrit, and it is in English it's called Indian sorrel. So this is prepared just like it's grinded with the leaves are grinded with in a mixer, and that can be directly added to buttermilk, or it is in Indian one dish is also there where they prepare a buttermilk which is processed with certain herbs. So in that form it was given. So the patients were happy because it is not taken as a medicine. Instead, it was given as a diet. And here the buttermilk is a good source of probiotics, and hence it was given to the all the individuals for a longer durations until all the symptoms are reduced. Now, the second strategy was to strengthen the immunity, because in almost all the four cases when we referred, we could get one point, that is immunocompromised state or decreased immunity, or the patient is having a lower immune status, or there is a immune interactions. So these terminologies were repeating in all the cases. So we started to target the major organ which is taking place, which is taking the control over the whole immune system of an individual, that is liver. So this is a formulation which we give to almost all the hepatobiliary system diseases and also splenic diseases. It is called as Vardhamana formulation, longum is also, it is decreased. Dose is decreased in a descending order also. So this is a chart which is given in the slide, where in the day one, it starts with 3 gram and increased up to 15 grams. And once it reaches 15 grams, the dose has to be reduced. And a strict diet will be followed during this procedure. And along with this powder, we have to give 150, approximately 150 ml of milk can be given, or even this powder is boiled with 150 ml of milk and asked to consume on empty stomach. So these were the two strategies which were followed. And the pharmacology of piperine, everyone knows, it is having both in vivo and in vitro study, which is showing immunomodulatory and anti-allergic effects. There are a number of publications related to that, but and also it has an enhancing of bioavailability of any medicines which you give along with such treatments. So this particular formulation worked well in cases. And I would just want to say that we didn't had any a prepared protocol for that. We were just identifying how the mechanism of immune response is happening, what is a causative agent, and how the causative factor is causing a kind of changes in the what do you call, the physiology of the immune system, or physiology of certain illness, which was like a patient comes to us with cellulitis and cystitis. Both had a different kind of clinical manifestations, but the core causative factor was something else. When it was understood is when patient was not getting any relief from the symptomatic treatments what we were giving. So this protocol was adopted only by thinking that it is, liver is an immunological organ. When we are increasing the capacity of liver, when we are stimulating the functions of liver, automatically body can function well, and it can fight with these kind of antigens which are attacking the body. And when I analyze the results, so based on the clinical symptoms and lab reports, when we started this particular protocol, the relief of symptoms were faster, but it took little time for the normalcy of the urine samples to happen, because all these bacteria were detected in the urine sample of the patient. And even the reduction in serum IgE also took a quite lot of time, and reduction in CRP level also. It is not like a months together, in a days, compared to the clinical symptoms, how it reduced. The laboratory parameters took little more time to reduce. Only that was a point which I wanted to highlight. In total, in 2 months of treatment, the patients were absolutely fine, and they were in case of serum IgE level raise and the respiratory illness and all, they'll be knowing what exactly is causing the problem there. Okay, so that was a point I just wanted to highlight there. And why this environment topic was taken was when I started my practice in Malabar Coast, that is Kerala. It is a tropical monsoon area where there is an exaggerated immune system, and raised serum IgE is a common in 30% of the population. So hypersensitivity to seafood is also increasingly seen because of the overconsumption here. And there was a problems related to probiotics and acne, like in ulcerative colitis or colonic diseases were more. And when we took this point, we were getting some leading answers like probiotics are significantly helpful in modulating the immune response of the host. So once the immune system of the host is strengthened, it is going to suppress the allergic reactions. So the one who had a CRP high and he had a joint pain, it is because of the raised histamine levels, which is going to cause the problem in such cases. So in total, we were only concentrating on 2 points. One is the gut microbiota, another one is the liver, to enhance the immune interaction or to reduce the immune interactions. So in a nutshell, I would like to say that this is a paper which was published very long back, where the people are telling, or scientists are telling, about the tolerogenic effect of the liver, because the liver mechanisms are so complicated, and it is going to give us a more confused answer most of the times, how it is going to answer, how it is going to fight with the antigens. But at the end of the day, it is having an adaptive, it is having a very much role in innate and adaptive immune system of individuals. So that's why the liver can be enhanced in such cases. And we have to make a protocol where instead of symptomatic treatments, we can even think about some of the, the target theory like of treatments is also possible. So these are the findings of patients who were during the treatment, they had a Klebsiella oxytoca. So when in the final report, there is a normal flora of the bacteria. Next comes is a urine analysis were given before and after treatment. So it is also, there is an organism is nil here. And this is a post-operate, the after treatment. The urine is no bacteriuria is present. And the raised CRP, you can see that 1 or 2 is milligrams per liter is the highest quantity of C-reactive protein. And after you can see the dates also in 1 month, nearly 1 month of treatments, there is a significant reductions in the C-reactive protein levels. So this is how we could get a success only with the changing the approach of the approach to a particular condition, so that we are just going into the course or into the roots, and we are taking simple medications and simple treatment modalities to enhance the immune system of the patients. So as the time was very much restricted to me, I just wanted to conclude this. And thank you for the opportunity. And I'm happy to share my views in this forum. Thank you.
Thank you. A great presentation, very comprehensive. And also 1 or 2 questions come to my mind. Maybe the first one would be, how many people have been in this case study, or is it a wider study or research?
Yeah, because in case of CRP levels and serum IgE levels and all, we have a good number of cases, like 30, nearly 30 patients and all. But those and infectious conditions, this is hardly a fourth or fifth case we are treating, because it took quite a long time for us to understand the concept, what to adopt in such case. Because one fine day, patient will tell that, yes, we want to go for antibiotic therapy. There will be a very small platform for us to send them to the allopathy treatment or to retain back in our treatment. So it is a very crucial moments. So when this concept was successful, we started treating that, because these are the two first cases which I treated among them. Recently, it is like we are getting, but very rare organisms, and we don't get this organism in urine sample of patients. Hardly in 100 of samples, one or not even one also will be getting such cases.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we'll have to look for more. Just one more question that maybe has come up here and there, because many of the people who are interested in all in our channel and our information, they are living a vegan style lifestyle. So and there are many medications and treatments combined with milk, and now you also have the milk and the buttermilk. So is there any other substance that you could take instead of milk that would support the vegan organisms of people who might have reactions to milk?
Okay, the buttermilk is fine, but that we cannot change it because that's a formulation which is already present in the text, so that I cannot modulate. But there are practical difficulties for this Vardhamana people. That Piper longum, what I told, the people deny to take milk, means we'll give with the rice gruel.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So only thing is here it is we have to give a good amount of non-irritant liquid food along with this medication. So that is the only idea behind this, because we have a list of anupanas, it is called, a list of the things which we can adopt, which can be given along with this Piper longum powder. So any one we can select, but most of the times when you give with the milk, the patient will have least irritation. So that is the only advantage. But if they are tolerable, they can even take with the rice gruel also.
Yeah. Okay. No. Just for people to know. So Pipali, we can find everywhere around the world, and there you go. That's it. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you for this paper. I hope you can be part of the discussion later on. But for now, thank you for your time. It was a beautiful presentation. And with that, we will move on to the next paper. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajeshwari.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So, we will stop the screen, and Vinayak, who is our next paper, I think we have.
Can you give me the co-host? I can host it.
Yes. There you go.
we had a slight shuffle of the topic. It is more for the afternoon, but I think it's all right. I think
No,
the part of everything
yeah,
goes together.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. We have very interesting papers here. So who is
Dr. V.S. Bharati?
on?
Good afternoon.
Doctor.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Shall I start?
Just a minute. We'll just put it for full screen. Okay. You can just let me know when you want to go to the next slide. I can do that.
Yes. Shall I start, sir?
We
Yes.
don't see you, Doctor.
Your video is off, but aside from that, everything is on. So we have Dr. Bharati as the next presenter with the significance of Ahara in immunity. And please, doctor, it's all yours.
It's a warm good afternoon to everyone present here. And I'm Dr. Bharati, an Ayurvedic doctor from Chennai. And you all see my topic is significance of Ahara, that is food in immunity. We all know that food sustains the life of living being due to all these creatures are inclined towards it. So Ahara, it is one among the Trayo Upastamba, that is 3 pillars of life along with sleep and celibacy, that is Nidra and Brahmacharya. So through the science of nutrition at the present time, it is elaborated. It is a contemporary perspective, as I see, is an component of diets like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, minerals, and water, etc. But Ayurveda, the ancient science of life, emphasize it has a diversified aspect in diets and nutrition by quantity and quality, processing and a method of food, and a combination that's Viruddha Aharam, an emotional aspect, nature of the consumer, the prakriti of a person, geographical and environmental condition. It's a pivotal in preservation, promotion of health, and prevention of disease. So when it comes to dealing with the disease and health, I think it's a 3 main factor which is important. That is Aushadam, a drug and a therapy. It's Panchakarma therapy or some other Aushadam we are giving for the treatment. And Ahara, a diet. And Vihara, the practices which we have dealt, that Acharya, Rasayanam, Dinacharyam, everything, every others. So next slide. So in case of Aharam, the diet, I personally, not personally, but this is what importance of Agni. What Agni, it is digested and absorbed, and assimilation is performed by Agni. Like in modern, they say that gastric juice. In Ayurveda, they have 13 types of Agnis, that is Chatra Agni. Food is digested in stomach, GIT. You can, it is equated with hormones, enzymes, secretion of digestion, etc. Then Dhatu Agni, transportation at tissue levels, the Dhatu levels. And Bhutagni, that's 5 Bhutagni and 7 Dhatu Agni. Bhutagni, that's a regulation of micronutrition in organ level. It is highly selective. It is microdigestion and a biotransformation at cellular and subatomic level. So it is carried by Bhutagni at a gene level. So the Agni is a very important factor in the digestion, but it is not just about digestion. It is assimilated and the nutrition is transported to every part of the body. It is vital for the functions of our body. If your Agni gets weakened due to your Nidanam, we'll say Nidanam by taking, not following the food procedures, then Nidana Parivarjanam, he will do. In case of Nidanam, if you have a faulty diet habit and faulty lifestyle, your dosha gets imbalanced and your Agni get hampered. If the Agni get weakened, what happened? The armor, we don't know whether the food is digested or not. Even without knowing the digestion, we'll eat other foods. before digestion of the previous food, and it will get armor. That is metabolic toxins that will get accumulated in a body. That further reshapes the dosha. So in the armor which is accumulated in the body, that can be expelled in the form of detox therapy, that's called panchakarma therapy, and other like the simple form of langanam, that is fasting, that is langanam or lagu aharam. It is based on the bala of the patient. That is according to the bala, we can prescribe them either for the langanam or lagu aharam. Langanam for upavasam or fasting, or lagu diets. So next slide. So functions of Agni, it is responsible for visual perceptions. It's maintain normal temperature, color complexion. It gives confidence, courage, fearlessness. It creates joys, laughter, contempt. It provides mental clarity, enthusiasm, nutrition. It provides stages, that's brightness, intelligence. Provides strength and vitality. It is like mental clarity, cheerfulness, and laughter. It will comes when your Agni is in a great amount. It is in a correct amount when your dosha is in a balanced state. What happens if you are eating a food which cause bloating of an abdomen? We don't laugh. We will be feeling breathlessness if this bloating is very severe, and we can't laugh. We won't be cheerful. It doesn't create joys. So the problem is in the Agni. So when we are correcting the Agni and following a certain regimen to correct your Agni, and we can have cheerfulness, laughter, tejas, and all kind of nutrition to your body. So next slide. So as I said, the Agni, weakened Agni leads to that is failed digestion. It's not indigestion, it's a failed digestion. So the metabolic waste that builds up in your body. So you can eliminate it from the body or neutralize by doing many therapies and by giving Deepana Pachana Dravyas. And it's amatvam is a major for many diseases like rheumatoid arthritis and other many SLEs and many other diseases. Amatvam is very important. When we will be concentrating as an Ayurvedic persons, we will be concentrating first on the gut. They have been researching about gut and brain axis, gut microbiome. The Ayurveda has said this way before about this gut and a mind connection, etc. So next slide. So the etiquettes of taking food. As I said before, we are going through carbohydrates, calorie deficit diet, and vitamin, minerals, etc. But Ayurveda has said more about that. It's a nature of food, a prakriti. Even a person, I have prakriti, vata prakriti or prita prakriti, like that, and I have certain features like food, like I can say black gram, which is heavy in nature, and a green gram, which is very light in nature. It's a prakriti. You should understand the prakriti of certain foods which are taking in a daily life, and nature of the processing. If a processing like churning, burning, you'll be cooking the food in a different method of preparations. Like if a curd is just a curd which cause edema, if it's taken as the fat, but if it is churned, even if the fat is intact, it will alleviate edema. That is the nature of processing. A combination of two foods. Like we are not able to take both cold and hot. Contradictory foods are not advised to take. A quantity. You have to maintain a doshic balance, like vata, pitta, kapha, by taking a quantity, certain quantity, not to take overload your and not to imbalance your dosha. If you're taking in a proper quantity, it will nourish your tissue, balance your dhatus. Habit or climate. Habit. If you are in US, the people can't take daily rice. That is vice versa. We can't take daily buns and breads. Like habitat foods to be taken according to the habitat and climate. Ritucharyam is said according to the climatic fruits and vegetables to be taken. And time. We all know the column of Vata, Pitta, Kapha according with the day and night. So it is not advised to take food. For example, it is not advised to take food at the time of 9:30 to 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. in the night. So it is going to come. It is completely going to hamper your Agni, and you'll feel lethargic. You'll feel heaviness, bloating, etc. And wholesomeness, individual who takes the food as a wholesome, it's okasatmyam. We say it's okasatmyam. So rules and governing the intake, it will comes under taking warm food. So next slide. One should take warm food. It helps in digestion. These are the rules governing intake of food set by Charaka. Warm food helps in digestion. You can take warm food, so it helps promotion of Udana, process of Vata downwards, and taking unctuous food, Snigdha food. It will give you plumpiness and Snigdhatvam to your body. Taking in a proper quantity, meals only when the previous meal is digested. If it is not previous meal is digested, you're taking and overloading your stomach, your Agni will be hampered and Ama will be produced. So if it's previous meal is digested and you're hungry, you're taking your next meal, it will give strength, it will nourish your tissues. If you should not have any contradictory potency, not by taking honey and ghee in equal quantity, and by not hot and cold things in equal proportion. One should not take food is too hurry, because it too hurry and too slow, it can go into the wrong passage and it can hamper your Agnis. Not in, you don't get the fulfillment of eating, satisfaction, and it is very slow. You at a certain point of time, food gets cold and you can't eat. It's said Lagu and Ushna Agaram should be taken. You should not talk, laugh, or whatever. You should use your Panja Indriyas by touching the foods. You should see the food. You see the particles. You should see them. You should smell them. You should taste them. You should perceive the Panja Indriyas should be used, and you should be in full concentration. You should taste your food. You should enjoy while eating it. You should take the food in a prescribed manner with the due regards to your own self. You should know what is your prakriti, which food is for your body, which is not for your body. You should eat according to that to maintain your immunity, to maintain your strength, to maintain your doshic balance, extra. So next slide. As I said, diet and mind, the gut and brain axis, like diet and mind. So it plays a key role in maintaining health. If you are not taking a good food, then you are causing a problem. You're keep on doing a same thing. It leads to you won't be happy of taking that kind of foods. So they have stated a Satvika diet, Rajasika diet, and Tamasika diet. It's Satvika diet is pure food. It is not processed. So it restores harmony and you can balance your body. Rajasika diet, it's too spicy, like hot, sour, salty, and all. It will aggravate Vata and Pitta. It has excess angry, irritability, and it will cause mental faculties. Tamasika diet is too oily, that is stale and reheated foods are usually said as Tamasika food, which dull your mind. And you'll be in confusion, you won't be happy, you'll be lethargic. So next slide. So as Ayurveda say, prophylactic and therapeutic aspects of Ayurvedic diet, Patya. Even a prophylactic will give before that, and even a clinical Patya is also being said. In Ayurvedic text, Vaidya Jivam, they said, if wholesome diet is given in a planned way, there is no need for separate treatment. So that is prophylactic nutrition. So for that, you should have some qualities for the wholesome and balanced diet. So it should be congenial to body. It should relish pleasure to the person. It should keep healthy. It should sustain homeostasis. It is to be pleasant to the mind and intellect. It should prevent disease. So by saying the wholesome and unwholesome diet, food articles are wholesome by nature. They are readily acceptable, like red shali, rakta shali, mudga, ghee, grita, gok shira, ginger, etc. And some are unwholesome by nature and they cause illness. It is the three main things it's said by Charaka is Pipali, Lavana, Kshara. If you're taking in excess quantity and regular interval of time, it will cause imbalance in your dosha, it will cause graying of hair, and it will cause many things. 6 days and rational, the wholesome concept will comes with 6 days. You should take Shad Rasa. Madhura, Amla, Lavana, Katu, Tikta, Kashayam should be in your diet. It should start with Madhuram. So it should be it's a wholesome concept. So 6 rasa, you should not indulge in one rasa, that will completely harmful. And if you're taking in a Madhura rasa, if you're taking, everything has certain uses to the tissue. It nourishes. Madhura rasam will nourishes. Amla rasam is hridyam, it's cardioprotective. And Katu rasam, Kashaya rasam, these are wound healing. It will ropana property. So next slide. So incompatible diet, no viruddha aharam, incompatible or contradictory qualities. Its poisonous effects on the body that aggravates the dosha. That various diseases like mainly I have seen patients of main about dermatitis, eczema, abscess, skin psoriasis, and they can hamper immunity, memory. We are seeing patients with by taking fish along with milk. They'll be taking milk product with alcoholic beverages. If you start asking about the dietetic complaints, they'll be start saying about the food. Incompatible food will lead to skin disease most often. So next slide. So clinical nutrition is Patya Kalpana. It's a clinical nutrition. We usually prescribe this Manda Peya Vilepi Yavagu Krishara in Samsarjana Krama. Like after doing a purificatory therapy for Vammana Virechna, it'll give this kind of nutritions. But this is not only for after purificated that Samsarjana Krama, we can give in for a disease. Like Manda, you'll be adding 1 part of rice with 14 part of water, and it'll be in a liquid form. It is a best Deepana Pachana. If you are in having a fever and you can't eat, and your Agni is hampered, and even in we'll prescribe Manda. By taking it, it will increase your Agni. It will be digestive. It will Deepana and Pachana. It's Lagu in nature. Like Peya, it's still semi-solid form with 14 part of water and 1 part of rice. And Vilepi, it's 14 part of rice. It's in a paste form. It is conducive to heart and it's delicious. Evago is 1:6 thick. It is strength and nourishing. It's you are Shatakshinam. You have in injuries. You have come across from injuries. You have in post injuries. You can take Evago. It is strengthening and it is nourishing. And Krishara. Krishara is rice with green gram. It is very popularly known as Kichari in Tamil Nadu and in India. And it is very rich. It's very light. It's quickly digestible. It's the carbohydrates. It's rich in proteins. Everything. We'll be adding some Deepana Pachana Dravyas to it. By taking, we are prescribing Krishara, that Kichadi, for post-COVID patients and positive COVID patients in the home, because it is very nutritive and very digestive. Food nutritive. So next slide. So in prophylactic nutrition in pediatricians, a pediatric child will start after Jatakarma, we will do by giving honey and ghee for immune response, Varna Prashnam, which will be dealt for up to 16 years of age, in a Pushya Nakshatram, fine paste of gold with other Medhya drugs to improve intelligence and immunity, a ghee with other medicated herbs to promote mental functions, Phalaprashnam by fruits, introduction of fruits to a baby of 6 months, and Annaprashnam at 1 year by introducing different types of cereals and pulses to the children. So next slide. So before going to Rasayanam, I'd like to say about Vyadhikshamatum as immunity is a topic where it's Vyadhi, protecting our body from Vyadhi. It is as an immunity. It is depends on the person and the bala of the body, like Sakaja Bala, Kalaja Bala, Yuktija Bala. So Yuktikrita Bala, Sakaja Bala is innate immunity. The food, food will influence a mother. Food by a mother influence the womb. So Kalaja Bala, it is of nature, it is of your climate, it's a place where you born. And Yuktikrita Bala, it comes with food and Rasayana Dravyas. So by Rasayana Dravya, while taking a Rasayana Dravya, you will be having Agni. First, Jatra Agni will absorb the Rasayana Dravya and it will transfer it to the Rasa Dhatu, it's first Dhatu. And Rasa Dhatu, it will transfer into Rakta till that it reaches the Ojas. The Ojas will increase the Sharira Bala. So person with appropriate amount of Bala, they provide the capacity to resist the external disease causing agents. So by Jatra Agni, that is the main component, either by following this, or your hampered Agni, you can give Deepana Pachana Dravyas, and by starting Rasayanam, you can achieve your appropriate desire for Rasayanam. So next slide. So Rasayanam is of different type. As per your desire, you can take Rasayanam like for healthy person, for your health promoting, for your vitality, like drugs like Amlaki, Haritaki, Bala, Ashwagandha, for desire, mental health and intellect, Mandukaparni, Shankapushpi, Brahmi, and desire for lustres and overall temperament, Guduchi, Bringaraj, Ashwagandha. So Naimitika Rasayanam, it's a curative, it's Shamana. Shamana Rasayanam is also there for the curation of disease. And Ajashrika Rasayanam by giving daily intake of ghee, kshira and madhu. Ahar Rasayanam by intake of Kshira, lunch Shadrasa as a wholesome diet, and Acharya Rasayanam by following socio-behavioral conduct, by following some rules and regulation for the complete physical, mental, and social well-being. It's we obtained the definition of health is who stated as physical, mental, and social well-being, and merely this is that you can achieve it by Ahara Acharya Rasayanam by following this Rasayanam. There are types of Rasayanam by you can even give in a Kuti Praveshika Rasayanam by in an indoor cottage without any exposure to sun, and in a Vata Artapika Rasayanam it comes under this by giving Rasayana Dravyas, by taking Rasayana Dravyas, by doing this Ajrasika Rasayanam, you can achieve your immunity, you can achieve your strength, which your desire, you can regenerate your body. So next slide. So some of the evidence-based, very few I've written here, but many drugs have been researched for this. Rasayana Dravyas, they are usually free radical scavenging, antioxidant effects will be there. They prevent many diseases, immunomodulation, immunostimulation. It's anti-inflammatory. It increases the adaptogenic effects. So to strengthen the immune system, it's immunomodulation to strengthen the immune system. So Brahmi, anti-stress activity, improve cognitive functions and memory, Amlaki, immunomodulator, adaptogenic, anti-cytotoxic, Guruchi, hepatoprotective, anti-inflammatory, Ashwagandha, Haritaki, everything, they have researched this, and they have, with researched things, they have said free radical scavenging, anti-inflammatory to strengthen the immune system. So that the Rasayanam, it is not just about by giving you for coming, someone is coming, I can just give you the Rasayanam. This Rasayanam is according to the dosha. I'll see your dosha, I'll see your prakriti. It's, there is a dosha. For Vata dosha, you can take a Bala. For Pitta dosha, for Kapha dosha, and for Prakriti, Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, and for Vata disease. And according to the age, you are in Haritaki Rasayanam, we will be giving according to the age, with adding certain drugs according to the season, according to the disease. This Rasayanam is usually prescribed. As I conclude this by saying, the Ayurveda, in prevention and management, Ayurveda first primary sources comes with prevention. That is Swastasya Swastha Rakshanam. So Ayurveda's main principle and main goal is to protect the healthy person, and immediately a secondary goal is Aturasya Vikara Prashamanam, by treating a disease of the patients. By emphasizing this diet plan based on the Ayurveda, it is not just for preventing, it is in prophylactic axis, it is in preventive, it is in curative aspects, Shodhana aspect. We have a multiple categories of nutrition which is going to improve your strength and improve your immunity in a different level, and not just based on the internet and based on something we are giving many foods, carbohydrates, diet deficits. We are taking food. If you want to lose weight, we are just jumping into calorie deficit diet. We are just jumping into in fastings. We are jumping into we didn't know what is, but we should understand our body, and by taking the food which is suitable for our body. We know at the first attempt, we know this is not Prajna Parata. We should not do that. If it is not suitable to our body, we should not take that food again. So by concluding this, I'll say in immunity food, Agni, I'll say Agni is a gold standard, and it is very important. I'll place a crown over it to say, to maintain Agni, you can achieve your ojas, you can achieve your immunity to strengthen your body. So I'll conclude it. And thank you so much for giving me this golden opportunity, sir.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. We got to just a second. We will. So now, just maybe one or two questions. You told us that the time from let's say about 9:30 to 10 in the evening is just not good for eating, for example. Now, which what would be the best time to eat, or what's the time window that you would recommend for eating, and what time of the day would you absolutely not recommend for eating?
Um, After 7:30, that is before sunrise, Ayurveda said is two diet course. That light breakfast, and you can have your main diet as your lunch. And that is Ayurveda has said you should not eat your stomach full. Charaka has said 1/2 part of food and 1/2 part of water, and you should be left out. So according to that, according to your Agni, and I would say you need 5 to 6 hours gap between first to second meal. So if you are eating at 9 or 10, you will have bloating and you don't feel good because you're straightly going to a bed. That is not good for your eating habits, and you don't feel hungry in the next day. I'll say 2 to 3 hours before going to bed. It is a very good, and you can take in a light amount of food.
All right. So even if you are a night worker and you go to bed at maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, you still should not eat just 4 hours before you go to bed. That's just the understanding of the daytime and the effect that the daytime has on your organism. So that's one thing. And I mean, you said this is a huge lot of rules for eating, which has some meaning and sense, of course, but people. One of the rules you said was, of course, not talking, not laughing, and having some focus on your eating, which sounds very reasonable and intelligent. But the way we are seeing food, be it in the entertainment, be it in the movies or wherever we see, it's people laughing and talking and, spitting their food around and being nice and funny. So let's understand that might be unhealthy, So it might be funny in cases, it might be a good picture in the movies, but let's just eat calmly and then laugh before or after the food, maybe, or talk before or after the food. It can't be such a big thing. It's just that especially in Europe or America, people have a different approach when it comes to food, and so we're just trying to kind of translate these ideas and concepts into the Western psychology. It doesn't mean your life is boring and dull and bad if you cannot talk and laugh while you're eating. So just that we got a lot of information. I would recommend everybody go back and watch the video also, the rasayanas and the advantages they could have in your life. And for the most part, you can find all of these products nowadays also in other countries, wherever you have Ayurvedic treatment shops or whatever. So thank you so far, Doctor, for your time and your effort to let us know how to take in food correctly. For now, these two papers gave us some thoughts and some things to think about. We will go for a short break. Maybe, I don't know, Vinayak, maybe for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
10 minutes maybe, and then we come back for a discussion round to first part of the day. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. See you then. Anyway, I will start. So very good. We're back after a short break, and we had two very nice papers today. The first part is about the environment and the immune system, the effect of the environment on your immune system, and possibly how to handle that. We heard about the liver and some possibilities to work with certain ingredients in your food, certain products like pipali, the long pepper. You got a few recipes, which is not meant for you to run out and explore on your own, but just go out and now you know. I mean, I'm talking to all the viewers and listeners who are not professionals in this case. For the professionals, of course, now you have some ideas of other people, of other people's ideas and of other studies and research and things that you might be able to use in your own ways. But for the non-professionals, for the viewers, those of you who just think possibly there must be more to it, there is some knowledge out there, and we're trying to pass this knowledge through. So once you watch these, you can't, of course, just take a recipe and go out and make it and take it in. You need to, especially with all these Ayurvedic and Siddha and Unani and all these holistic approaches to medicine, it's also very important to have a holistic diagnosis. So in that case, you need someone who knows what he's doing, who has an idea of, his, oh, we got him muted. So don't just go out. Maybe look out for professionals. Maybe look out for an Ayurvedic center around you. Maybe look out for naturopathic institute. I mean, it's going to be tough for you to find, let's say, a Siddha medicine institute or maybe a Unani doctor around the corner. That's for sure, because these are very traditionally South Indian or maybe in other parts of Asia, and you cannot access them that easily. But in most places, you will find some sort of Ayurvedic Indian style or other styles that go in the same way, doctors and institutions. So, and if you don't, we have had that on our shows, on our pre-talks, and also here. There are possibilities to go for online talks, online consultations. We had, for example, Dr. Juneji here, who has a whole platform for online consultation. But also, if you just look at all our guests, if you go to our advisory board, you find all the names, possibly some of them with their addresses, with their working places, hospitals, and also say also how you could reach them, their websites, their email addresses. So this is really important. Whenever you find something here that might be for you, I mean, if it's a behavioral thing, then just go for it. Now you heard maybe it's a lot better for you to eat at certain times of the day, and to not eat at certain times, to have a certain kind of behavior with your food. Like we said, don't talk, don't laugh, focus on it. Just feel the joy of taking in the food. Of course, it's not about being depressed while eating. It's just the total other side of this thing. It's not about being silent means you're sad or depressed, or if you're not laughing, that means you cannot smile. I mean, it's just fine. Just take out these I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour that your food intake might need. Then afterwards you can go for laughs and talks as much as you need to. And these behavioral things you can do on your own, but you know, the ingestion and intake of certain things and like that, if it's used as some sort of medication, you should go to a professional. Please do that. If it's just part of the food, I mean, really be cautious with certain things, to do some experiments on your own. You don't have to do that. You just need maybe a very short consultation where someone will tell you your constitution and the buildup of your body, and after that you can take care of it yourself with a few notes from that professional. So this is really what seems very important to me, because some of these ideas might sound very very doable for everybody, because you might think, well, that's food. Everybody can eat whatever they want, as we have been hearing and seeing here for the last few days. Food, especially in these medical systems, are not seen just as just food. There is no such thing as just food, because anyway, you're making up your whole system with whatever you put in. So it's not just food. And for that, this food is seen as medication. So there is a lot to know before you could say, this is my constitution, these are my humors, this is my doshas, this is my buildup, and this is my time of the day, and this is my preferred food. So that's for that. We're coming to the second part, and we'll go for the discussion. We'll start with the discussion. As you've seen, we have a question and we pass it through our expert round, and each of these experts, depending on their expertise, on their medical system, will give us an idea of how they see it, how they handle it, and so on. So we will start with Dr. Vikram Pai, who is a medical officer of the Ayush. We had many of the people of the Ayush ministry very helpful to us and our organization. He is dealing with yoga and naturopathy, and it's the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Raipur. And with him too, we hope at some point to have a personal talk so we can go deeper into his introduction, because this is a really short one. All our experts are overachievers and highly decorated that it would take too much of the time to go too deep into that. So Doctor, very happy to have you on. Now, today we have the environment and the environmental influence on the immune system. So give us a basic idea of the environment and what comes from outside, and how your system does handle that, and what your ideas are about how we can especially in these times where the environment might be, in some cases, might be even dangerous for the system, how to handle that, how to go about, how naturopathy and yoga will see that. Oh, you're muted, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for a nice and precise short introduction, and I like it that way. And thank you for that. And I would like to present you with the naturopathic concept on environment and immunity. Am I audible, right?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, okay, let's start. There are two, the topic which was given to me, it has two components, as you all know, environment and immunity. So to start with the environment, what exactly is environment is nothing but it's very simple. It's surroundings, whatever we are surrounded by, and what is our frame of reference. If you take a body, ourselves as a body, then our surroundings, the surrounding, whatever surrounds me is my environment. If you take the reference point as a cell, so cell is the outside of the cell, the interstitium or the extracellular fluid, it is its environment. And if you take it as a mind, the body itself, it's a environment, and the surrounding psychological impact on it, and it is considered as environment. So this is the basic concept about environment. And this environment, according to naturopathy or Prakritik Chikitsa, is made up of 5 great elements called as Pancha Mahabhutas. That is Prithvi, Aap, Tej, Vayu, Akash. Prithvi is earth, and uh, Aap is water, Tej is fire, air is Vayu, and Akash is the ether or space. So this environment, it not only surrounds us, but we are also, the body and mind is also made up of these 5 basic elements. That is the basic naturopathic concept. So now we can move on to the next component, that is immunity. Immunity is, we have a notion called immunity means to fight the germs and kill the germs and to survive. So that is a wrong notion. Basically, if you are not a medical personnel, and immunity, those have this notion, it's a wrong notion. Immunity means, exactly in a proper sense, the change to survive the continuously changing environment. Environment is not a stagnant thing, it's continuously keep on changing. So we have to adopt it and survive that. So that's immunity. So immunity, I'm not going to discuss a deeper components of immunity. So to keep it superficially, touch all the components. Immunity in the body is comprised with, we all know, innate immunity, which we are born with, and all those genetic predisposing factors. And next is the immunity which we acquire after we take birth, after our birth. And it is also called as adaptive immunity. So, which we learn, our body and our minds learn, then we adapt to the change, then we survive. And in naturopathy, there is a concept called vitality. And in yoga, it is called prana. Vitality or prana is nothing but the energy, basic energy which keeps you alive, energetic, and healthy. So to preserve that is called as, and to enhance it and to keep that vitality on an optimal level so that you can lead a healthy life. That is vitality and that is immunity in according to naturopathic principle. So these are the two basic, and if you take the modern research, so immunity is a very vast and very complex topic, and still the research, and we are very recently we have explored the deeper aspects of immunity in terms of immunology and microbiology. So it starts with basic blood cells, leukocytes, which are white blood cells, which are also called as immune cells. Then we move on to the deeper aspects mediated by many chemicals like interleukins, cytokines, prostaglandins. That is called complement system. So it has a lot of huge cycles or huge complement system which are mediated by a lot of chemicals. So these are the basic research. Immunity research are based on these systems, these components these days. So now naturopathy. Let's come to yoga and naturopathy, and we have learned what is immunity, what is environment, and what now we'll go for the how it can be practically implemented. So first, before going to immunity, we'll have to know what is health and what is disease. So health is nothing but uh, according to naturopathy and yoga, it's a harmonious vibration between all among all the phases and all the planes and all the components which makes the human body: physical, mental, spiritual, intellectual. So all components there should be they should be working in harmonious manner, in a constructive manner. So that is health. So disease, when this just opposite to health, is nothing but disease. And what causes disease? According to naturopathy, it's the environment which we provide causes the disease. It just is the against the notion that germs cause disease. Now, it's a basic principle that in naturopathy, it's not the germs or the bacteria which cause disease. It's the environment which we provide for those germs and bacteria which cause the disease or disorder. So let's take a come to practical aspect. Let's take physical body. For example, physical body, if you look at from outside, the largest organ inside the body, I mean, in the body is the skin. Skin is a very large and vast organ. And in naturopathy, there are various in this thing treatments and treatment protocols which starts from the skin or treating the skin. So we have heard about gut biome. We all know it's a very popular term. Just like gut biome, there is also something called skin biome. So basically, in modern medicine or modern Western medicine, what they practice, immunity means to just kill the and all the bacteria or all the microbes and have a sterile uh, environment. So these days, we have seen a lot of soaps and anti-germ soaps, and now, take for example, we have seen what immunity, optimum immunity what is the requirement of optimum immunity in this COVID pandemic. So there are three components in the immunity. First is three disorders or immune system irregularities. First is hyperimmunity, or it's also called as allergy or hypersensitivity, or sometimes if you call it as in the fatal level, it's the last stage, it's called as anaphylaxis. So in these COVID times, we have heard about cytokine storms. So this is when it happens when your immunity is too much sensitive and it's responds very highly. So even that is a problem. And when there is no immunity, so once there was a lot of COVID deaths, and then there was something called mucormycosis. That is because of immunosuppression. The immune system was suppressed, and there was no immunity, proper immunity. So the fungi could grow inside the body, causing the havoc. So all these, and the third part is autoimmunity. When there is no immunoregulatory mechanisms properly working inside the body's immunity starts eating our own body or affecting our own body. That is called as autoimmunity. So all these three components has to be, or irregularities has to be addressed in a natural manner. And these are not caused by the germs or the fungi or something, the third party or antigens. Actually, the basic cause, if you look at it, it's because of the environment what we provide. For example, as I said, the Western notion about hygiene is providing a very sterile environment. So hyper cleaning. So earlier in India, ancient part in ancient India, to clean the skin, there were herbs or herbal supplements. Where I mean, herbal preparations were used to clean the skin and stuff. So, for example, Indian soap berries, the Rita or the aloe vera, all these skin-friendly particles, herbs were used to clean the skin. Then the basic idea is to just use the saponification reaction or the micelle formation. When you add the esters of fatty acids along with the water, it forms a micelle and removes the dirt. That's the basic idea of the cleaning. But as time passed on, from the time of Robert Koch, then who discovered about and told us about the microbes, antimicrobials or this thing microbials started to the use of antimicrobials started to increase day by day. And today we are in the era where we use a lot of antimicrobial soaps or antibacterial soaps. So basically, they contain tricloban and triclosans. And you can see a lot of research where the people who are regularly using a lot of antibiotics on their skin are prone to more and more allergies and more infections because the microbes get used to it and they get resistant to it. So tricloban and triclosan resistant studies, there are a lot of research studies which you can find. So in naturopathy, there is something called mud therapy. So mud is not all microbes are bad. So there is something called skin biome, as I said. Our skin contains a lot of healthy bacteria and which are necessary for our to stimulate the immunoregulatory mechanisms and keep our immunity strong and better working in a working condition. So there are a lot of healthy bacteria. And in naturopathy, there is something called mud therapy. Mud is not only a thing which can hold water, which is known for water and holding water and temperature changing, temperature holding capacity, and also the minerals. And along with that, it has also a lot of healthy bacteria, namely Mycobacterium vaccae. It's a very friendly mycobacterium species, Mycobacterium vaccae, and it has there are a lot of researches going on the positive effects of Mycobacterium vaccae. That is, even the bacterium has been extracted from the mud and it has been used to prepare a lot of vaccines. Other than that, Mycobacterium vaccae is also said to increase the serotonin levels in the our brain, which can fight the depression and which is a feel good neurotransmitter. So it has a positive effect on the body. So these are the example of mud therapy and the need of natural products to clean your skin. So it was just an example how the skin biome works and how we can disrupt the skin biome with overuse of antibiotics and overuse of antimicrobials. So next comes our internal uh, environment. Internal environment is nothing but the gut biome and the all organ and tissues inside the body. So mainly, let's talk about the gut biome. So gut biome is a very in a few decades, in the recent few decades, it has gained a very high prominent place in the field of immunology. So gut biome is responsible for not only for the gut, but also the overall immunity of the body, and also to fight the autoimmune disorders. So autoimmune disorders, if you take again, if you take some read some of the researchers, there are only 30% of the autoimmune disorders which are caused by the genetic predisposition factors. And most of the 70% autoimmune disorders are due to the environmental factors. So they may be very simple environmental factors like salt, sugar, and ultra processed food, and the complex I mean, pollutants, complex pollutants which are not in our control by the governmental this thing like endosulfan. I am from Karnataka. Recently, Karnataka government few years back it has banned a, pollutant called endosulfan. It's a pesticide. So there are other air pollutants, and there are water pollutants, there are all those pollutants, and but which are under our control are ultra processed foods, which we can avoid them to preserve our gut biome. For example, we are very fond of these days ultra processed foods because of their taste, their fat and high fat content and high sugar content, and we are addicted to that. So sometimes the food has caused this has disrupted our gut biome and also our circulation system. For example, salt. If you take salt from the market, the basic this thing the work of the salt is to increase the taste or improvise the taste and then provide sodium and chloride. So basically sodium chloride. But when you go to the market and buy the salt, you get a free flowing this thing. Early salt is also a preservative. Since ancient times, human know the salt as a preservative, and if you keep the things in a brine solution, it can be the food product which are perishable. You can increase their shelf life. But overconsumption of the salt, not only whenever there is you take more than the normal daily requirement of the salt, your kidneys sense that there is increased sodium in the body, and sodium being an osmotically active substance, so it takes out all the cells, water from the cells or interstitial and this thing, and brings it to the bloodstream. So this not only increases the uh, blood pressure, and it also makes kidney to secrete more and more glucocorticoids, so that it suppresses again the on the works on the immunity and suppresses it. So this is about salt. And not only salt is not only only this thing, salt being the preservative. And these days what you get, salt is a very free flowing salt, and they add things called aluminum silicate to keep that salt preservative. So we are in an era where we are adding preservatives for the preservatives. So we need preservative. Salt itself is a preservative, and we are adding another preservative to keep that preservative too. So that is the heights of food processing industry. So that's disrupting our system. The next biggest poison is the sugar. So sugar is a result again of high food processed industry. So we rip off all the impurities or all the nutrients from the sugar cane. Then we just leave it, use it chemicals for processing it, and then finally we just leave it as sucrose to just enhance our taste buds. But this kind of sugar is definitely going to wreak a havoc in your gut biome. So again, we do I don't have to tell what are the disorders which are linked to the high sugar content, so that you can find a lot of this thing. So these are the food part. So what we can then next thing is maida and refined flours and refined ultra refined pickles, and those things which are having class 2 preservatives like sodium benzoate and whatever things which you try to improvise the shelf life of the food and industrialize and transport it. So that has a negative impact on the immunity. So that's what I want to say. Then the last component is the mind. So mind has a very big role Not only it's the food or not the skin or not the air pollution, there is something more important uh, aspect which plays on immunity is the mind. So if your mind is not healthy, and no matter what kind of fiber rich diet or what kind of healthy food you eat, so it is not going to work. That's why a new field has emerged called as PNEI, psycho neuroendocrino immunology. So it's a very huge complex network which shows how mind is related. So the problems arise, the environment, around surrounding you can affect your mind, cause the stress in that is called psycho. Then it turns on to the affects the neural system, that is autonomic nervous system. So stress physiology is a, again, it's a huge and complex part of physiology in itself. So it affects your neural system or the nervous system. Then it affects your endocrine system by producing cortisols, the stress hormones. Then finally, that suppresses your immunity. So stress physiology, it is also a required aspect, but when we overuse it, or when it gets disrupted, it as again causes a lot of immunological problems like hypersensitivity, allergies, and autoimmune disorders. So this is the basic concept, how naturopathy sees immunity and how naturopathy sees environment. It's not the antigen, or it's not the basic germs, or it's not the microbes or bacteria which cause the disease. It's the environment we provide them to grow them inside the body, so that it causes the disease. So the simple example, we have seen a lot of patients who were asymptomatic during this COVID period, pandemic. So that shows there are a lot of people whose immunoregulatory mechanisms are working at optimum level, so that they couldn't the virus couldn't elicit any kind of, couldn't show, bring about any symptoms in them because their immunity was at optimum. So immunity is depends on your lifestyle. There is no hack, or there is no shortcuts to achieve an optimum immunity. So there are smaller hacks there could be with the kind of herbal supplements or medicines you can have, but without having a proper lifestyle which includes your psyche, mind, body, food, and the skin and the environment, so you can't have a proper immunity. And it's not a matter of, oh, you can't have it overnight or in a fortnight. So you have to prepare yourself for the further pandemic, and we all have to prepare ourselves for the further pandemic by keeping this in mind, this concept in mind. So before concluding my topic on environment immunity, I'd like to stress on 3 points. On a personal level, we have to be aware. We can't just say that I didn't knew, so you have to have the information. So have the information about the processed foods and what to eat and what not to eat, and how to behave and how to purify your thoughts on a personal level. And next, on a level of physician, we the physicians who are here together, maybe Ayurvedic, Unani, all the concepts are almost similar. Only just a few differences are there, but we all Indian system of medicine, or the homeopathy, yoga and naturopathy have almost works on the similar platform. So we have to guide our patients on our level so that they will be having proper information in their disposal, so they can utilize it. And the third part is the government's role is to make sure the environment is provided in the market where the food and the pollutants has can be minimized. So that's the government's part. And as the physician's part, we have to guide the patients, and at the personal level, by the common man, he has to receive and process the information and act accordingly to create a constructive and healthy world before the next pandemic arrives and wreaks the havoc, so we can prevent it. So that's what I want to say in this topic. That's all.
Very much. Thank you. So it's a really important point that some of the environment is just outside of our reach. We cannot, as an individual, go out and change the industries and whole setup of the world economy. And of course, there are situations where you, um, in a way, have no choice. Uh, Either you have to go away or you will be poisoned. We have those situations with many people, um, uh, uh, unfortunately, of course, and that's where the governmental part comes in, and that's, to be honest, what we really are aiming at, because we have to gather a whole bunch of people around the world together to have this kind of weight and power to demand something like that, because as we all know, money talks, and people just don't care if it's not around their corner. So as we have seen, especially huge companies are not very much interested in individual lives. So, and that's understandable, because companies are not made to take care, but they're made to make money. That's all. Just we all have to balance it out. Just as Dr. Pai just told us, we have our own responsibility to balance that out. But in cases where it's on a governmental level, of course, you're taken out, but everything else, there is something you can do about it, be it your food, be it your own environment, be it your mental environment, be it your psychological environment. So it all comes in there. Just as a final thing, you said there is because that's a practical part. You said in naturopathy you're doing this mud therapy. Um, I mean, you gave us a short explanation. What kind of a mud is that? Is that a specific mud, or would you say, the earth around you, surrounding you, will always have the right kind of mud for you if you just walk on mud, jump on mud, and get yourself muddy, then that's fine. What kind of a mud is that?
Well, mud, which the mud is basically which is not industrially polluted, or which usually we take mud from outside the normal human habitat, which is not polluted by the human excreta or any kind of such things. So we take a mud where the plants grow, and we at least take around 5 to 6 feet, dig around. Then we take that mud, then bring it and dry it under sun and soak it overnight. So we just make sure that there is not a high amount of pollution in that mud. Then we apply it directly or indirectly. There are many ways. Directly application is the mud bath, what we see. And there are different kinds of places in the world where the mud is very rich in certain elements or certain minerals, and which has a definitely a healthy components in that. And basically what we use in naturopathy or naturopathic centers are the mud which we get it from the plants, where the plants are there, and we just dig around 5 to 6 feet, then bring it and use it, or for the mud packs. And there are three uses. One is mud when you soak it. It is a part of hydrotherapy. So it has a specific heat and latent heat. It can resist temperature. So that has physical properties as well, that creates the vasoconstriction, vasodilation, and those physical aspects on the circulation. Then it has minerals which can act on skin in a beneficial manner. And the third one is the microbes, the healthy microbes, or the necessary component for, as I said, the Mycobacterium vaccae. So it can induce certain good benefits like improving the serotonin levels in the synapses. So the research is on the way. It's not yet completed. So there are a lot of, these immunological studies, they need a lot of time and a proper design and huge sample size. So these researches are ongoing. So, but based on what we we saw in our patients from years together in Europe and in Asia and in India, so mud therapy has a lot of benefits.
Right. Thank you. That's really important. One thing you said is obviously the earth around plants is probably plants have a very strong filtering ability, and they clean and cleanse the earth too, which is very helpful, just as the earth is cleansing the food of the plants. So these are systems that have been going on for a few billion years. So we should maybe trust them and go with them. That's one thing. The other thing is maybe nowadays, unfortunately, we will have to be very cautious with just going outside of human habitats and find untouched ground, because, somebody might have thrown out toxic waste in there.
Exactly.
Or
We have to make sure.
It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. So maybe just find your own garden and around your own plants, and or go to some place where they do it. But you're right, we have mud baths and therapies all over the world. The concluding thing, also something you said, we need huge sample sizes to find things out. And of course, there too, we have a big emphasis on other things that we are studying. We are studying how to I don't know, make maybe meat out of without animals in the laboratory, and not going vegetarian. But we will not try to find out what earth could do for your body, or a whole set of papers we have been listening to, where people just do not have those huge case studies that might be eye-opening also. And maybe that's a reason for it, because with a certain sample size, you could not deny it, and then you would have to change direction and all that kind of stuff. And possibly some people just don't care for that too much. But we heard what we can do. We heard a few things that naturopathy can give us. Thank you for that, Dr. Pai. Dr.
Yeah.
Subramanya, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So Dr. Subramanya from Ayurveda, would you give us a short introduction into environment and the environmental influence on the system, and how Ayurveda looks at this?
Yeah. Thank you and welcome you all. I think Dr. Vinayak Nair and Dr. Mahesh, all known persons to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So in Ayurveda, regarding environment and immunity, we have environment and immunity. That's Ojas we call. Ojo, Vruddhi, Lakshanas, all those things mentioned. At the outset, Nityam Hitahara Vihara Sevi, Samikshakari Visheshu Asaktaha. That means every day. So what you mean is every day Hitahara Vihara. So proper diets and viharas and Samikshakari Visheshu Asaktaha. Unnecessary things should be avoided. So we should not interfere with others' duties or others' things or unnecessary things, we can say. And data paraha samik, data paraha means donate something to the poor or somebody, and satyavan always truthful, and kshamavan forgiveness, aptopasevicha, one who is apta means whoever it may be, it is senior or junior, one who is expert in that field and one who is honest in that field. So such personalities we can consider as apta. Bhavati aroga, then there will not be any disease. So this is required in total for the environment or for human beings to maintain his health, everybody's health and everybody's life, to lead life. This one quotation everyone should follow. That is Nityam Hitahara Vihara Sevi Samikshakari Visheshwata Datapara Satyavan Kshamavan Aptopasevicha Bhavati Aroga. So healthy food, healthy discussion, healthy relation, everything is important in our life to maintain communication skills and other things. So everything is important in our life. Apart from that, if you are going to Panchabhautika theory, we believe, being an Ayurveda person, we believe Panchabhautika theory, that is Prithvi, Apteja, Vayu, Akasha, that is mainly, say for example, Jala, that is water. So water purification has been mentioned many by using many drugs. Strictness potatorum, that is Kataka, or Karanja, Pongamia pinnata, or even Amalaki, that is Philanthus emblica. These are the plants which are mentioned for the groundwater recharging as well groundwater purifying. Even air purifier mentioned, that is Vayu and Akasha, we can say. So air purifier or our environment purifier mentioned by our acharyas, that is Ashwatha and Tulasi. If you are planting Ashwatha and Tulasi, so it purifies the environment or air. So Ficus religiosa is Ashwatha, and Ocimum sanctum or varieties of Tulasi, Ocimum basilicum and other species. All these species are which purifies the air or environment. So that is required. Apart from that, we have Dhupana, fumigation point of view. So which acts as antimicrobial. There are many Dhupana dravyas like Agaru, Chandana, Rakta Chandana, etc. Fumigation point of view, fumigation purpose, many herbal drugs are used. By burning the herbal drugs, it fumes, which cleanses the air or which cleanses the environment. Thereby, we can prevent the what we can say, viral disease or whatever the any diseases, spreading this infectious disease, we can prevent. And apart from that, so water recharging also important. So that's already I told, that's water recharging is Karanja, Udumbar and Amalaki. Those plants which recharges, wherever these plants are there, we can suspect that it is groundwater is very rich. This Pongamia pinnata or Ficus racemosa or Philanthus species, wherever these plants we are finding in the environment, there we can suspect the groundwater. As well, purification, Strictness potatorum and other species, many species are there in Ayurveda. Apart from that, immunomodulator drugs are, many drugs are mentioned in Ayurveda. Say for example, Bhumya Malaki, that is Philanthus niruri, or the other plants, best antiviral plants, that is Brainia, Whitesidia, or Memicillin amplexicol, Memicillin adule, or even Melastoma malabarica. So many species are there which are antiviral, and some drugs are antibacterial or antifungal. All these species are, many species are there. Accordingly, as and when required, we can use such plants as preventive medicine or immunomodulator medicine. So many immunomodulators, immunoboosters are mentioned, like our Chyawanprash, a well-known product of Ayurveda, which contains amalaki. Phyllanthus neruri is the major ingredient. Apart from that, there are 48 ingredients like dashamula and other drugs have been mentioned. So all these drugs are immunomodulator drugs. And we have Agastya Rasayana, that is also which contains haritaki, that is Terminalia chebula, as the main ingredient, which improves the respiratory problems, and Terminalia arjuna also, which is useful in cardiac disorders, especially in this COVID-19, this arjuna or bhumi amalaki, that's Terminalia arjuna or Phyllanthus neruri. These type of plants have been used wonderfully in our day-to-day clinical practice, so which have given very good result also. It prevented this cardiac involvement or respiratory involvement in COVID persons, positive cases. So wonderful result we got this by using these medicines. Apart from that, our day-to-day food habits are so important. How we are consuming the food, the sattvika ahara, rajasika ahara, tamasika ahara, trigunatmaka ahara we have in our classics, or we have vata, pitta, kapha, tridoshakara or tridosha vriddhikara ahara viharas. So these type of ahara, food supplements, also important. And there are some nutritive importance also, NutriCare supplements or nutritive supplements we have, like Moringa oleifera, drumstick leaves. Drumstick leaves are acting very immunomodulator, very good immunomodulator, drumstick leaves. And even we have Vrikshamala, that's Garcinia species, Garcinia indica, etc. Those species also, which acts as best antiviral. There are compared to other science, I think, which is, we say that which is safe and better drug, these by using this herbal drug, we can maintain, we can prevent the infectious disease, and we can improve our immunity, and we can improve our lifestyle. Any further things required? Hello?
You are muted, Wes.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I was muted. Thank you for that. That was a very good one, because you just talked about, purifying water, purifying the air. So Ayurveda has these things, and there have been thoughts about this even thousands of years before. So what we've found out is we have certain plants and certain methods to take out the toxicity out of the environment around us. And even with the fumes and burning of certain herbs to cleanse the atmosphere. The only thing is, nowadays, just one question: what do you do when you know certain regions or certain plants are maybe are toxic because of the area, because of industry, because of something? So is it that we can only go away and take something from somewhere else, or what would you do in those cases? Would you just leave everything out and eat less, or take? So, because some people have to deal with toxic water, they have to deal with industrial waste around them. So what is the Ayurvedic idea in those cases?
Yeah, we believe reverse pharmacology. Really, in Ayurveda, we have the different protocols. So there are classical medicines which are mentioned many years, 5,000 years back. So that should be reproved or revalidated. And apart from that, there are folklore herbal medicines which also incorporated in Ayurveda, many herbal drugs. So those herbal drugs or folklore medicines or ethno medicines should be reproved or revalidated scientifically, and classical medicines also. So we have standard protocol starting from the field identification of the plant, thereby the doing the microscopic study or pharmacological study and pharmacological study, that is toxicity study by experimental animals, albino rats or mice. We are doing the toxicity study. Then we are going to the pilot clinical study. After confirming the safety measures of the plant, toxicity study, then we are going to experimental study, then going to clinical study, pilot clinical study. If get succeeded or everything is safe, then we are moving to the 4 stages of clinical trial, the phase 1, 2, 3, 4. After completion of all clinical trial, after reproving everything, then we are moving to the public to treat the patient, open treatment. So these are our protocols, which we can say that it is reverse pharmacology, which is already we know the facts and figures that should be revalidated and reproved scientifically. So without having scientific data or without having safety measures or pharmacovigilance also we have for Ayurveda, without having those things, we are not going to treat anything, any of the patients.
Right. So that's a very important part of it, because people are some people are dealing with very bad situations. So if it's the case with you, with the viewers, then you really have to move out and find something that has been tested, and it's very important. Thank you, sir. For now, we come to the next question, and we go through the round, and then I think we're done with this discussion round. So thank you. We go back to Dr. Vikram Pai. And the second round of questions, I would say, is about something practical that people can look into. So and it's about which ingredients, which outside things can be harmful, should we be cautious about. Dr. Vikram Pai was talking about the intake of salt and certain other things, but which are really in themselves toxic. What is something that we should, maybe if we are reading the ingredients, or if we hear about the levels of this or that is too high in the water, in the air, that should give us some concern. You're muted, sir.
Anything, even if it is a good thing, if it is in excess, then it is toxic. It becomes toxic. It doesn't take much time to become toxic. Like salt. Salt is a good thing. It contains sodium. Sodium is an essential micronutrient. And if we exceed more than 6 or 7 grams or more than per that amount, RDA, there is a required daily allowance. If we exceed that, on for first a few days, on first few on in the younger age, you won't face that a problem. And as you keep on exceeding that amount every day, and if you consume a lot of salty diet in your food, that becomes toxic over a period of time. And similarly, sugar. So in naturopathy, there are 4 things called white sugars. One is the salt, white salt, which is ultra processed, which contains a lot of anti-caking agents like aluminum silicate to make it free flowing. And next is the sugar, which is highly processed sucrose. Then the third is maida, the processed wheat flour, which is ripped off all the bran and all nutrients, vital fiber has been ripped off, and only you get that maida or the refined wheat flour. And finally, there is white rice and the processed, highly processed cheese and milk products, which is very highly processed in lab, and the mayonnaise. So all these products are called as white poisons or white toxic substances in naturopathy, and we have to avoid them as long as possible. And in place of that, so you have a replacement. I just can't go on saying my patients to not to have sugar and not to have salt and stop entirely. So instead of having this salt, try having the sea salt in the coastal areas. You know, India is a peninsula, and the coastal areas have the basic sea salts in the shops even today. So that can be added, which is the crystalline salt. So that is better than the marketed salt in the supermarkets, the with low sodium and all those things. They add a lot of advertisements, and they are all false. They are just trying to sell you the product that they're not as healthy. And if you're not the sea salt is not, the crystalline sea salt is not available, then you can go for the pink salt, which is the rock salt, the Sendha namak in the northern parts of the country. So in moderation, these salts are good. They are not as bad as. And the next, avoid all those chips and all those confectionaries and all those items which you get in the bakeries and the ready to eat, and those which have the class 2 preservatives, which reads when you turn the packet around, they has sodium benzoate and class 2 preservatives. Try to minimize such products, so which has those preservatives and sodium content again. So overall, you are having the more sodium than you need. So that has to be avoided. The next, sugar. What can be replaced by in place of sugar? So the organic jaggery is also a better choice. Honey, for a certain problems, it is a medicinal, has a medicinal value also. And there is something called stevia. There is a plant. If you get it from a nursery and grow it in your balcony or somewhere in your garden, so you can use the leaf of that stevia plant and use as an artificial, I mean, a sweetener in a moderate amount usually. Or else you can, if you get it in a powdered form, even that can be used. But I prefer usually jaggery, which can be used, or such natural substances can be used as sweeteners in a very moderate amount. Then third, instead of the maida, refined flour, which increases the taste of your bread and naan and whatever things, tasty things you have. Instead of that, replace that with different kinds of millets and millet flours and wheat flours, whole wheat flours, which has the fiber amount in it. So that has to be replaced. And all those foods that enhancers, taste enhancers, and the foods which has a higher amount of preservatives, anti-caking agents, the coloring agents, and all those sorts of food has to be avoided, and you have to shift it to the natural and perishable, regional and seasonal food. So regional and seasonal food, intake of regional and seasonal food, and in the moderation, moderate amount, and the timing, everything is important. So if you follow these basic guidelines, so you can get rid of obesity, diabetes, and a lot of any problems, and all other immunity related problems also, lifestyle disorders.
Very, very good. The only thing is, I mean, I'm perfectly in accordance with that, but we have many people we talk to, and in the Western world, the modern medicine is very powerful, obviously, also with this kind of this kind of urgent behavior that the modern medicine has. It's always about the final seconds, and that's how a human being is treated, it's always like you're in the final seconds, which is great when you're in your final seconds, but most of the time we are not. And that's where all these concepts are very important, that you don't get to that point where you need those urgent interventions. But the point is that many people just as you said, I mean, it might be tasty and colorful, all these processed stuff, food and all that, and you get used to them. It's like an addiction sometimes also, and getting away from that takes some time, you know, to get your taste buds working, to cleanse the body that much so that it works for you. And in those cases, we have people, especially here in Europe and in America, who say, and this is not something I'm imagining, this is something I've been talking to people about. They say, you know what, I like this. I just like this. And then I went to the doctor because some part of my body was not working, be it the liver or the kidney or whatever. And you know what? I got a very a little operation, and then I only have to take these 4 or 5 pills every day, and everything is fine. You know, I can still go on with my food, and I don't have to do all this stressy regime that you are talking about. You know, watch. So I'm just saying this is the biggest issue that we are dealing with, and I will appreciate the modern medicine people we will hopefully have on in the next discussions. But of course, many people from the modern medicine also understand the idea, but it's a whole lifestyle issue that we have, especially here. I believe in India, it's by far better, and people are more willing to at least go with certain traditional understanding of food and the approach to it. But this is why I'm putting so much emphasis on it, so that our viewers maybe think about it twice, and don't just go for the next pill or the next medication, and just understand your body has the capability to absolutely function on a very, very high level. It's not that you have to drag yourself from day to day with this pill and that pill. And this is a very sad situation, actually, one might be in once your body is deteriorating and is not working and functioning in a fine way. So just a note on that. Thank you for your you know, addition on
I'd like to add another point.
yeah.
So, as you said, the Westerners, even Westerners these days, there are certain problems like non-functional problems, psychosomatic disorders like inflammatory bowel disorders, GERDs, where there is no functional cause, and you just can't get relief from few set of pills or medications.
Right.
And these are the problems faced by vast majority of people due to the psychosomatic illnesses. These are IBS and a lot of problems which don't have a functional things. You can get all kind of CAT scans, MRIs, and all endoscopies. You don't get any kind of dysfunction or problems, but you still have the problem. So for these conditions, to prevent and avoid these conditions, you have to somewhere around, you have to act on a physical and mental level. And if you talk about countries like India, the modern medical practitioners are overburdened with such cases, and they're prescribe a lot of drugs, but still the patients are not getting relief. But in US and Western countries, the patient and doctor ratio is a proper. So they are not feeling that heat what the modern medical physicians are practicing in India are feeling that kind of burden. So over a period of time, definitely all, even the Western model medicine practitioners and the Indian or Asian practitioners will come to a consensus, and then they will realize the importance of natural and wholesome and preventive medicine. The most important one word thing is called preventive medicine. The importance of that will be understood some other day. We hope for that now.
No, yes, this is absolutely the reason for our organization, Open Attempt, and because the solutions are here already, have been here for a long time. For the longest time, we're just trying to move away from them with such amounts of power. But really, this is also something we have to get done on a governmental level, because there are such huge powers at work here that you can decide for yourself, as long as there is some knowledge and there is some willpower and discipline and everything. But as a society, we can see you are being dragged into certain areas. Also, just on a side note, the industry of the pharmacy, let's say the industry of the pharmacy is very much into selling their products, as is advisable to any company. They should be trying to sell their products. And of course, when your products are pills and any kind of medicine, then you basically need people to be in need of medicine. So, this is a certain situation that I don't want to go too deep into that, because I don't want another YouTube video to be pulled down and then us to be put on a cross. But, just on a certain note, it's a personal responsibility that we have to take, and to try to work towards a different understanding of the whole situation on a governmental level, which we are trying to extract from, let's say, something like this, a knowledge festival, where we, once this is finished, will take out the most important applicable ideas to confront people, to go to governmental institutions and to try to get them over in some way. But also, in that case, the more people are behind it, the more weight it has, and the more we can get done. So thank you for that. We go over to Dr. Meenakumari, who had some issues with the internet connection. Hopefully, she is here with us.
She's here with us. She's Redimi.
It's possible for her to get into that. So the question still is, what is considered as a toxic element, or as toxic elements in your environment according to your system? Let's see if we can, if she can get through to us for a final round. Hopefully she can. If she possibly needs some time, we can go to Dr. Subramanya. Yes?
I think you can go to Dr. Subramanya.
Yeah. All right. Dr. Subramanya, sir, maybe you can tell us the same thing. What are some elements of your environment that are toxic according to Ayurveda. Let's say, just like Dr. Vikram Pai told us, with the salt and with the ways and how it's used, what is Ayurveda's idea of toxic elements in your environment?
Yeah, yeah, very nice. We are using as medicine many toxic elements also. We have herbal medicine as well. So we use copper or arsenic compounds also in our medicines, like in Siddha we use. But the purification methods have been mentioned for copper sulfate or whatever other inorganic substance, and even herbal drugs also. We have many purification methods. Many purification methods. We have the toxic herbal medicines or mineral medicines. So as I told in the beginning, Nityam Hitahara Vihara Sevi, in that aspect also, whatever the things, the medicine or food, the proper dosage is important. And food also, if you are consuming more, the unlimited, then that also toxic only. Food poisoning also happens many a times. So our limitation in food habits as well in dosage of the medicines or dosage forms of the medicines also important, because some drugs are water soluble, some drugs are alcohol soluble, some drugs are based on the solubility of these herbal drugs or herbal extracts. Prepare such formulations, dosage forms. Different dosage forms also important in our and apart from that, even media also that we call anupana. So that also important, how you give this medicine, and timings also important. So how regularly we are giving, oftenly we are giving, those things also important. So with the minimum dosage, we say the alpa matra upagitvat aruche aprasangatha. That means the salpa hi matra vipula gunascha. That also we have shloka in our reference. That means with minimum dose, maximum uses. So that is our motto. With minimum dose, maximum uses of the medicine. It may be toxic medicines, but it is not acting as toxic to the body, because we purify. For example, copper sulfate we purify with the lemon juice. So with proper purification, even copper sulfate we use to give in skin disease. So internally with milligrams, 125 milligrams or 60 milligrams, in that level. So that also acting. And apart from that, even Vatsanaba, Aconitum ferox, Aconitum heterofilum, and other things also. Many poisonous herbal drugs also there. For that also we have different purification methods. So with that, we purify the drugs. For example, Vatsanaba, Aconitum ferox roots or rhizome, we purify with the Gomutra, cow's urine, and then we are giving with minimum dose, that is 60 to 125 milligrams. Sorry, not 60, even only 15 milligram. On just 15 milligram we used to give. With that we can get maximum result also, and there is only some duration only. Prolonged usage is contraindicated in that aspect also. Sorry.
No problem.
Prolonged usage of such medicines also contraindicated, but based on the condition we can use any medicines.
Very good. So this is just a totally different level, which we also have to understand. Also in the European Greek medicine, we have this saying that the dosage makes the poison. So we hear from Dr. Subramanya, who, by the way, is a master of the plants, who we would love to hear a lot more from, maybe in a personal talk at some point. But he's telling us we can use basically any element in nature to have positive results in a body, and probably every each and every element in nature can be harmful for an organism. So it's about the dosage and the usage of things. Just one question there, because this might not come to the mind at first, but it has always been an interesting question that in Ayurveda, you have these dosages of, let's say, just like you said, 15 milligram of this or 60 milligram of that. So this is a science that has been written down 5,000 years ago, and possibly older than that, because people had been living with this science long before and then wrote it down. So how did they know about milligrams? How did they find the tools to weigh that?
Yeah. Their measurement style is different. They said 1 rati pramana, and Vasanaba should be taken 1/8 rati. So after, and Gunja pramana is there. So different, by taking even here ancient days, even goldsmiths also, they used to weigh the gold by this Abrus precatorius seeds, Gunja seeds. That is Abrus precatorius seeds. That's weight is 125 milligram approximately. Likewise, so 1 rati pramana, 1/8 rati pramana, that is 125 divided by 8, that means around 16 milligrams is the dosage of Vasanaba. This the parallel calculation.
Right. No, because it's beautiful. All the Vedic sciences go very deep and in detail, and be it with the time, they go deep into seconds and milliseconds and all that, be it with the gram. It goes deep. It goes deep. But then some people think 5,000 years ago they didn't even have, they didn't have a normal living. They didn't even have a good house. They are talking about milligrams, and so maybe long time before that they were pretty evolved, and they knew a lot more than we might imagine right now for some reason. But at any rate, you heard it. We take natural ingredients and take the weight of that and try to weight that way, right? So thank you for that. That was really very interesting and going very deep. I think Dr. Meenakumari,
She's here. She can hear us actually. So I just.
she can hear us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You can hear us. That's that's great. This is beautiful, because before that we had to leave you out, which is a pity. So what is your idea, or Siddha medicine's idea on the toxic elements of the environment? What would you avoid, or how do you handle that?
Actually, in our system, I have mentioned they classified this land into 5 domains. It means the nature of the area. See, for example, seashore, which means nasal. In some cultivation area, fertile land, it is called as Marudanilam. Like so on, there is some hill and hilly area and desert area and some river area. People, ancient Tamil people classified these lands as Dinai, Dinaigal. So these 5 areas which where a human can live happily, they have mentioned in Marudanilam. That is the cultivation area, which contains some river, some fertile land, and good climate. like in the little summer and long rainy season and little winter season, like so on. So they are also classified these seasons also in 6 seasons in a long in a year and 6 classification in a day. Like that, they have year and climate and weather condition. According to the weather condition, land condition, they have classified the lifestyle and food habits in that climatic seasons. So during some, according to the land, they have lived. The people live in a desert land. People may have some disease like heat disease. People, those who are living in seashore and those who are taking all type of fish and sea products, they may have some sort of disease and they may have some sort of skin diseases also. Like so on, the land which is eligible to live is Marudanilam, that is the similar climate throughout the year, that is good cultivation, having some river and fertile land. Marudanilam is good for human living. People, ancient Tamil literature classify land as like this. And in the season, there is some Ilavenil, that is pre-summer, that is autumn. Autumn season, there will be not there may not be too hot and there may not be too rain. So that will be a pleasant climate. So that season will be very much pleasant to the human day. So that is very much good for living to the human. So they classify the land and climate and even a day like that. And according to the season, according to the land, they have prescribed some specific food habits. In some hilly area, people may have some insect or flu-like fevers, and they may have some sickle cell anemia-like diseases, and they may have dropsy-like ailments in hilly area. So people, ancient Siddha system classifies the land according to their food habit, according to their living lifestyle. They classify the disease also and food lifestyle to modify and get rid of the disease also. So in this condition, if we follow that procedure, we may, if we are living in a particular land, we may protect ourselves from that disease also. So we may improve our immunity by the prescribed lifestyle modifications. So they were very much aware about that lifestyle, season and land and disease itself. So this is the pattern in Siddha. And before that, Dr. I think it is from some Ayurvedic doctor, they quote, he mentioned in his talk, everyone should avoid junk food like maida, processed rice and white sugar, salt even. For that, in Siddha system, we are prescribing some traditional methods to have sweets, to have rice, what type of rice is good for health and what type of rice is good for even for adult or for the diseased person or elderly person or for children. Which rice is good for children? They have classified each and every good mentioned in our system. Even dal, they have prescribed for children. We have to use green gram. For adolescent girls, we have to use urud dal, that is black dal. For elderly people, adult male and adult, all adults, we can use chana dal like that. So even each and every food grains, they have classified for what type of disease, which type of grain, and what type of adult he is. They have classified each and every item, so that how can we take salt from the sea itself. The processing methods are also mentioned in our text. So like that, the processing methods for sugar also available in our text. We can take our traditional method to process all our foodstuffs. This is lacking nowadays. So we have to process our food grains as per our traditional methods. It won't harm our immunity because the good cells in the grains and foodstuffs are vanished by the newer techniques of processing methods. Even we can take it for example, milk. We are pasteurizing the milk up to some temperature, and it may lose its good quality, and we are adding some preservative so to keep the milk in a good state for 2 or 3 days. So ultimately it harms the good self of the milk itself, goodness of the milk itself. So we have to adapt our traditional methods to process all our food grains and food processing methods. We have to adapt these methods. We are adapting in nowadays is causing the harmfulness of our immunity, so which cause lowering the immunity, creating more diseases and metabolic disease, even diabetes, lifestyle diseases, everything. I think it is due to the newer methods of processing. Food processing is not as per our traditional methods. This is my concern about the process of food and the link between the food processing and immunity. This is what I want to convey in this forum. And one thing, in our traditional method, we some green gram and dal, they are having some specific processing method. That is, we have to take some red soil. We have to take filtered water from the red soil, and we have to submerge all the dal for 1 day. We have to dip it for 1 day, and after that we have to we have to make it sprout for another day. So at the time of sprouting, we have to make it dry in a less sunlight. After that, we have to break the we have to remove by the method of traditional method of grinding. After that, the pulses became half and half flakes like grains. They become flakes. So after that only we can use that dal. If this is the traditional method, and we are having unique traditional method for each and every dal variety. So for green gram, we have to sprout with some plain water, and for dal, we have to use it some red soil filtered water, and for urud dal, we have to use some oil immersion. It's not like completely dipped into oil. We have to apply little oil to all the black dals, black dal quantity. After that, we have to break it into 2 parts. After that, we have to use it. In these traditional methods preserve the micronutrients which is preserved in these grains is protected. So nowadays we are not using these methods, and we lose all the micro minerals within the grains. We don't have micro minerals through the grain. Even if we take the grains as such, we may not have that quantity, or we may not have that enriched grains. We may not have. So we have to adapt the traditional methods in our food processing methods also. This is what I want to convey in this forum. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
No, absolutely. Thank you for taking part here. And as I told everybody, it was not too much of a promise that Professor Meenakumari has a lot of information to pass on. If only the internet connection works, then we'll have a huge load of knowledge coming our way. So for wrapping up this discussion, I want to give everybody a recap. So we heard from Dr. Vikram Pai certain things that are maybe good to eat, some things that might be toxic to your system. We heard from Dr. Subramanya at the dosage and the ways of usage can be different, and things can be done differently. And then Dr. Meenakumari just brought in the whole dimension of these layers of knowledge that we just jump over usually nowadays, so that we see, just as Dr. Subramanya was telling us, everything has its toxic element and also its very useful part, depending on how you connect that to a certain organism. Now Dr. Meenakumari just took everybody to school. You know, she's just telling us each and every element in nature surrounding us has a way to deal with. So this is kind of the knowledge that we basically don't waste any time with anymore nowadays in the kind of societies that we live in. So she told us about how to filter the water before you know wash the dal, and some of them should be kind of dealt with oil, and some of them should be immersed in water for some time. You know, all these elements of treating your not only your food but everything in your environment will have an effect on your system. And of course, you might think to yourself, now this Siddha knowledge seems to be vast. This Ayurvedic knowledge seems to be vast. This naturopathy, yoga knowledge is going deep. How do I know? Because up to this point, I have been taking the gram or the dal, and I just throw it into water and cook it, and then I eat it, and so what? And I always thought I was very healthy, and apparently I'm not. Uh, well, yes. I mean, one thing is obviously there is more to life than we are willing to admit in certain cases. Uh, it's not easy. It's not meant to be easy. It can be very enjoyable, fun, and great, but it's not made to be easy. And by the way, once this is a routine, it's just like you know, cleaning your teeth or whatever. Once this is a routine, then you implement it in your daily life, and then it's part of your life. And the idea behind it is you don't get to that day when you start to have to use 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 20 different medications just to stay alive, just to be mildly functioning, not even really functioning, just a piece of a human being, you know? So we want to live to the final day as powerful as possible. So that's the idea behind it. Just spend a few minutes a day into something that gives you a structure over time that makes it all happen automatically, and spare yourself those 10, 20 years maybe full of pain and painkillers and you know kind of not really mobility and all these issues that people have, especially going towards the end of their lives, but also throughout their youth, as our experts mentioned. Each of them mentioned that there is a lot also with people who are not functioning in their youth, who have allergies, who have some reactions to their environment, which are not necessarily there to be. So just take this in, that there are stuff that you should take in or not as a general thing, and then maybe you should watch the dosage and the usage of it. And going deeper with the Siddha medicine, there is maybe places you live that make you eat something that is maybe toxic to you. Maybe you have to change your place. Maybe you have to watch the time of the year when you're consuming or you're doing something, when you live somewhere. All these things come together. So having said that, I want to thank all of our experts, Dr. Vikram Pai, Dr. Subramanya, and of course, Dr. Meenakumari, for their participation in this discussion round, for imparting their huge knowledge on us. And thank you very much. This was the first part of the third day of the Knowledge Festival. We will have a break of about pretty exactly 90 minutes. Please come back in 90 minutes for the second part of the day. So for now, thank you to everybody, and see you next
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.